Are you lying to yourself? Are you constantly sticking your head in the sand and not facing reality? I'm John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of being true to yourself and the truth, seeking it out, and being a realist, to be honest. So, if you're like me, if you're like most people in the world, you probably spend a good deal of time lying to yourself because you don't want to face the truths that you don't like. This is just common human nature. Most people are like this. Most people, when faced with an inconvenient truth, will choose to either ignore it, hide from it, make excuses or other kinds of distractions from it, bury their head in the sand, or do anything they can to avoid it. In fact, most of us don't actually seek out truths. Instead, we try to avoid even finding them out at all, right? So what I mean by this is there's places in your life that are screwed up. There's insecurities that you have, inside that you don't want to face. You know you have them to some degree, or you're not sure, right? But you don't want to find out for sure. I'll give you a quick, easy one here, right? So everyone probably has this insecurity, or most people do, right? Not everyone, but most people have an insecurity of, am I physically attractive, right? And they don't want to know the answer to that question, actually, because they're afraid that the answer might be no. And what is the answer? And if you knew the answer to that question, would your life be better because you could do something about it? But if you don't know the answer, what can you do about it? You can't do anything about it. You can just pretend, or you could just hope that someone will validate that assumption, which probably, and I'll speak to guys here, it's going to make you less physically attractive because you're not going to have confidence. So that's just one example, but there's a lot of areas here. Obviously, a lot of you are software developers or in the technology industry. You probably have some kind of doubt about whether or not you deserve the job that you got, or that you deserve the pay that you get, or whether or not you are competent enough to do your job or to be where you are. You might have insecurities about what about where you are in life, what your status is, what your skill levels are, all kinds of things, your social skills, your ability to talk to people, whether people like you, right? And the thing is, most of us avoid trying to find out the answer to this, right? So we generally have two tactics. I'm going to tell you both of the tactics, and I'm going to tell you how to overcome them. So most of the time, we have two tactics for dealing with this, right? The first one is to avoid them completely. So we don't ask the question, right? We don't look in the mirror. We don't ask people or observe. We try to it's sticking your head in the sand. It's not trying to find the truth. It's knowing that you're unsure about this area, but you don't want to know, right? I've done this before when I have got a letter in the mail that I know is this big ass bill, or something has gone wrong with one of my rental properties. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to know the answer to that question. And in the past, in my life, I'll be totally honest with you, I have done that with a lot of areas of my life. With, am I good enough? Am I attractive enough? Am I going to make it? Am I skilled enough? Do I have the confidence, right? I've ignored those areas because I don't want to know the answer. And when you don't want to know the answer, it's probably because the answer is one that you don't want, right? You actually don't want to find out. The second thing that we do, besides sticking our head in the sand, is we lie. We make up a false story or a false truth that is going to boost our confidence, and we're gonna make that the new truth, and we're gonna pretend like that we believe that, and that's good enough, right? So a lot of people, this is being in denial, right? A lot of people, you'll find this a lot in your sort of D&D playing. No offense, I play D&D. I did in the past, but the more, I'm going to say, nerdy type of, you know who you are, if you are, or those friends that they're like, I'm a black belt in karate, right? And they've never even taken karate or anything like that. They make up these lie stories, right, about things that they've done, sexual conquests that you know did not happen, right? So why did they do this, right? Because this is a way of not dealing with the truth, is you're creating a new narrative, a new story that you believe. And both of these things are extremely destructive. And I'll tell you why they're extremely destructive. And I had to find this out the hard way in my life, right? Because I did both of these things. I'll be totally honest with you, right? You know, this channel is about honest. I can't help you if I'm not honest. And I was the biggest dork. I had no self-confidence. I was constantly doubting my abilities, who I was, trying to prove myself all the time, trying to prove myself to myself, and never going for the truth, never asking the big important questions that I needed to ask, never confronting myself, never really looking in the mirror and saying, I really want to know what my real flaws are. I want to know how people see me. I want to know where my weaknesses are. Now, I'm not saying this to say that you should go now and go look in the mirror and say, man, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm an imposter. I guess I'll just jump off a building, because that's not it at all. The thing is, the reason why you need to do this is because in order to improve, you have to know what reality is. The longer that you deceive yourself about reality, the longer that you choose to live in a fantasy world or stick your head in the sand, the longer that you're going to be exactly where you are, and you will get even worse, right? If you don't know, let's just take again another one, and I'm going to be talking, I'm going to be doing a video a little bit that's going to go kind of this direction, and we're going to do some videos on this channel that they're going to help you a lot, but so that's why I'm going to take it this direction. But I'm going to say, for you guys out there, if you don't know if you're able to attract women, if you don't know if you're physically attractive, and there's more than the physical, but let's say that, right? If you never look in the mirror and you never objectively say, what do I look like? You cannot improve that. You cannot say, I mean, we all have genetics, right? We're all born with what we've got, but we can make improvements, and we can dress better, we can look better. There's a lot of things that we can do. We can improve our bodies. But if we don't face the truth, if we don't say, if your goal, let's say that your goal is to be attractive to women, right? A lot of guys, you know, we're being honest here, right? On this channel, I know, since I know that 97% of you are guys, and I know what age range you are, and I know what your interests are, I know that probably the number one thing in your life, a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you, is being attractive to women. But have you objectively faced whether you are or not, right? Are you sticking your head in the sand because you don't want to know the answer? Are you lying to yourself, making up stories because you're afraid of the answer? It's time to confront it. Time to say, objectively, is this true? What is the evidence? When I attempt, can I get what I want? If you can't, and here's a good hint, if you can't get what you want, then you've got your answer, right? In a lot of areas of your life. So you got to look at that. Now, again, I'm not trying to be harsh here, but we want the truth, right? And there's a reason why we want the truth. And I'm getting to this. I know it's taking a long time, but I want to make sure that you understand this, that you're going to be true with yourself. Because there is hope. I'm not trying to take away your hope. What I'm saying is that once you ask that question objectively, say, look, what is the evidence for it? What is the evidence against it? Then you can start looking at the evidence against it, and you can say, can I do something about that? Am I confident? Really, am I confident? Am I self-confident? Really? You can start, you can look at the aspects of it, right, and analyze that truth. Okay, well, I tend to, walk with my head down. I tend to have trouble, like, talking to people, and, I don't always feel like I could just be myself. Okay, maybe I don't have the self-confidence. Okay, fine. But can I do something about it? Yes. All right, how can I? Now I can approach that and attack that thing. Sorry for the camera shakes, but, right? You can go down that list. You can say, hey, am I out of shape? Well, objectively, yes. My form is not what would be ideal. Okay? I can improve that, right? There's all kinds of things. You can go through that list. Even in your career, you can say, hey, am I actually an expert in some technology or subject matter? Like, would I hire myself if I knew everything that I knew and I was hiring for this job, if I wasn't bullshitting at all? would I hire someone who was me if I could see through all their bullshit? If your answer is no, then you can go through and say, well, what would make it so that I would hire that person, right? And you can go through that. So anyway, that's it. That's the key to making improvements in your life. And I'll tell you honestly, I mean, sure, there's probably still areas of my life that I am not being objective, that I am not seeking the truth in. I'm trying to do it more and more, because the more that I've done it, the more that things have changed. When you look at the timeline of my life and you look at where did things start to really improve for me, and where do they continue to improve, and I look at the moments, it's when I faced certain truths that I didn't want to face. And sometimes you don't want to face those truths because you feel like if I face this truth, it will be the end of the world, because I will be a sack of shit, and I won't. And it's not worth living if I'm this thing. If I have to face this reality of this truth about myself that I don't want to face. But that's not true. You might feel like that, but it's the step. You have to get there, because here's the thing. The other thing. And I'll wrap this up here, but reality is reality whether you like it or not. This is the thing that I realized that made me click and say, oh, okay, I better actually face reality. Reality is reality whether you like it or not. What does that mean? That means that you can think what you want, you can avoid the truth all you want, right? But if you want to get what you want in life, it's going to be from shaping reality. And the only way to shape reality is to know what it is. So reality is going to happen whether you think, whatever you think in your mind isn't going to matter. So if you're having trouble getting a job, if you're having trouble getting a girl, if you're having trouble with self-confidence, if you're having trouble accomplishing the things in your life that you want to accomplish, ignoring it, not facing reality, doesn't change it. It just makes you suffer needlessly, because you are powerless to do anything about it. And you constantly have to go in your head and doubt yourself and feel bad about yourself. Instead, it's like ripping off the Band-Aid. Face the truth one time. Face the truth. Be willing to ask those tough questions. Like, what's a tough question? A tough question is, does my girlfriend actually like me at all? Is she actually attracted to me? Is she just staying with me? That's a tough question for a lot of people to ask. Another tough question, like I said, would I actually hire myself for this job? Honestly, if I knew it. It's a tough question to ask. There's a lot of tough questions you have to ask yourself. I'm sure wherever the areas that you're doubting yourself, those are the tough questions you have to ask yourself. And if you're willing to do that, what's going to happen is it's going to be painful one time. It's going to hurt really friggin' bad. You're going to wish you didn't do it. But once you fully experience that pain and get over it, you can make steps forward from there, from reality. Or you can realize that you need a different game plan in life, that this plan that you had, it's not going to work, because reality says that I'm sorry, but you are 5'4". You are not going to be a professional basketball player. Sorry, reality check, right? You gotta have that, and then you can change your game plan. But if you don't, and you're just ignoring it, you're gonna feel the pain every single day of your life when you know that you're living a life that you're not meant to live, and you're not good enough for it, and you feel it. But when you realize the truth, when you objectively look at your life and the doubts and insecurities that you have, and just say, I'm just going to, whatever reality is, it is what it is, and I'm just going to take it today. And I'm going to work from there. Then things start to change. Then you have power. And it might seem like it's the worst thing possible, that it's going to hurt at first. But trust me, you do that, and you keep stepping forward, step after step, pretty soon, you'll be facing a reality that you like, instead of one that you dislike. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you later.